The Adventures of
The Soul of Detroit,
starring
ML Elric.
The war changed many things, the face of the earth and the people on it. Before the war,
ML Elric worked at Fox 2.
but he traded his
microphone
for the cloak and dagger of
the Red Shovel Network.
When it was over, his former life was over too. Adventure had become his business. The Adventures of
ML Elric.
You acid erotic, get your finger out of my face. It's gone.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Come on.
That is not paid for by them. That is paid for by the people of Detroit.
You might be qualified, ML.
I'm not qualified for this job.
Let me tell you something. You want to go right now? Okay? You want to go right now?
Hey kids, it's your old pal ML Elric, and I got to tell you, my life never sounds quite so as exciting until Marc gets into the production.
Full of energy.
It's just really, it's exciting. Although it
Your
was
cloak and dagger world.
well, it was a tumultuous week in my pathetic little existence, which
You're busy.
started with harassing, I guess, some state lawmakers who are getting paid for going to work but not really doing the work that we sent them to do. Then I went to the Michigan Republican State Convention, which I thought was going to be a food fight and turned out to be pretty mellow. And then I had perhaps the worst sports weekend in my Spartan existence, where
Why?
we blew two chances to get to a Final Four.
Oh, yeah.
And I hate to feed Tommy's pathetic little narrative, but while the Wolverines stormed into two Final Fours, and I would say
Why
should
why
come
does
home
it
with
matter,
one of them.
Why does it matter what Michigan does or doesn't do to you?
Oh, it's not. It's if
It
we had
drives me. I said it last week. It's what drives me nuts about state fans is they really care. They get joy when Michigan loses. I actually felt bad. I felt bad over one person in particular, but I felt bad when State blew the hockey game. I felt bad for Trey Augustine because that overtime goal is a tricky goal.
It was. Of course,
and he played really well that whole game.
Of course, our first goal against Wisconsin was that exact same goal. So I mean, we
Those
got
are
one.
tough, though,
and we
man.
lost one. It is tough, but the problem is,
But I got no joy out of that.
when you sit back on your heels, bad things happen. You have to keep taking to them. Well, here's
That almost happened to Michigan hockey too. So
yeah. They were up by 4, so I mean, you could almost
yeah,
understand.
but they still that game
Yeah.
almost got tied at the end.
No,
It's a weird sport.
I understand, but here's the thing with Spartans in general. The enemy of. Well, I guess your enemy is just your enemy, but we like to see them go down because the balance of power in Michigan is a teeter-totter. When one team's up, the other one tends to be lower, and so you want the Wolverines to do poorly because it increases your chances.
True. That's not.
Oh, it's
true.
totally true. It's totally true. Take a look at
both Michigan State and Michigan basketball and football were very good this year, so that blows your theory out of the water.
Michigan State football was very good.
No, Michigan State basketball and hockey. Both schools basketball and hockey were very good. So that kind of blows that theory out of the water.
Well, you do want to have a good rivalry.
And why can't they both be good? I mean, they both recruit nationally.
In general, when one is up, the other one's going to be a little lower. So that explains some of it. But here's the reason. Here's the reason for the last 5 or 10 years. When you have an evil, corrupt program that somehow gets away with everything and they do well, I don't think you have to be a Spartan to be offended by that. I mean, that's not the way the world's supposed to work. When you are cheaters and rats, you're supposed to find yourself in a trap with your neck snapped as you try to go for a big piece of cheese.
Keep telling yourself that.
I'm not telling it. I don't have to tell myself that. I read the headlines. I read what the NCAA says. I read what reasonable people say.
Honorable institution.
Well, nobody caught them cheating. But anyway, so that was tough. And then tonight I get to go see the state of the city. So that's going to be.
Oh, you get to or you have to?
I kind of fought because they were limiting credentials, and I said, "Oh, come on, you got to let me in," and they did let me in, which is good because in the past, Sheffield's team has kept me out of events.
I was just going to say that you haven't been allowed to do much coverage of that.
Well, I think now that this is a city function where it's harder to argue that that they should be able to control it because they're an independent entity. And campaigns do have to incorporate, so they could say, "Hey, we're a business, not a government." But they didn't put up any fuss. They had a limit on how many people could go, and I said, "Can I go too?" And there was no problem. So I'm very happy about that. So we'll see what happens.
Okay, another question: what do you really expect to get out of it? Because I feel like states of the union, of the state, of the city, it's just it's fake. It's theater of how great everything is.
Well, this is one of these things where you go and you look for what isn't obvious. So let's talk about the Republican state convention, which I know people are not interested in, so we won't talk long about it. But the last few of those I've gone to were just chaos. It was just Republicans fighting Republicans. Anybody who seemed to be establishment or in office was immediately under suspicion for being a sellout. If you weren't completely and utterly endorsed and bathed in the blood of the MAGA movement, you had no chance. And they would spend hours, literally hours, fighting over picayune things and trying to get people thrown out and counting ballots and recounting ballots because, of course, we can't trust ballots. And then, as the president himself has done, when someone loses, then they claim that they were cheated. And this goes on for hours, and they schedule them from like 10 to 4, and then you're there till 6 or 7, and people are freaking out because they've only rented the hall till 6, and they got to get out, and the Jablonski wedding's coming in at 8, so they're all out there, and it's very tense and very frustrating. As I wrote in the Free Press yesterday, I got there 2.5 hours late because I figured ain't no problem.
Which is no surprise.
Yeah, and it's only
how do you end up 2.5 hours? This is a totally different issue. How do you end up 2.5 hours late for something?
Well, since Shawn's not here, I do want to make a note. I will answer your question in a minute, but I'm being taken off topic without my will. I had to take Teresa to go meet up with some people that she was flying out of town with. Then I had to go back home and do some chores that I couldn't get done because Teresa kind of farted around till it was time to take her out. And I was like, I'm ready to go, so I had to go do that. And then I'm like,
so you planned on being late?
I planned on being a little late. I didn't plan on being 2.5 hours late, but then I'm like, yeah. And I checked in with Patty P, and she's like, yeah, nothing's going on right now. So I'm like, okay.
You're so bad with your time.
So it's just I have too much to do. I'm overcommitted. So I got there, and then everything kind of went by the numbers. They one of the things that seemed to really help the candidates who were nominated for Attorney General and Secretary of State, that's Doug Lloyd, who's the Eaton County prosecutor, and Anthony Ferlini, who's the Macomb County clerk, is they really pushed that I've won elections. I've won elections, and I've beat Democrats. And so now they're trying to push the narrative of
smart.
I am a proven winner, as opposed to, I'll go find all the conspiracies. I'll go, I'll get Hunter Biden and James Comey and all this other kind of stuff. So it was interesting. And so the state of the city, so here we are, we're coming full circle. I'm going to go to see what Sheffield says, but more importantly, I'm going to go to see how she says it, how she presents herself. One of the things that people were really impressed about by Mike Duggan is that he didn't use notes. He just went up there and seemed to kind of riff, and he always had accomplishments to point to and promises that he would throw out there. And he would.
Well, however anybody feels about him as mayor, the guy's a pretty good politician.
He's a very good politician.
Pretty smooth.
And for what would normally be considered kind of an uncharismatic guy, I mean, he's as low key as it gets, absolutely no flash, doesn't make any effort whatsoever to glitz himself up. But when he starts rolling, he can hold a room like few politicians I've ever seen. He really sells not only that I know what I'm doing, but here's some stuff I want to do. And you kind of get excited because you think he can probably do it because he's done the stuff that he's just told us about. And when you look at his list from the year before, a lot of those boxes get checked off. So I'm going to be looking to see what she wants to talk about, what her priorities are. Who does she give a shout out to? How does she, is she poised? Is she confident? Is she reading from notes? Does she, and you just want to see what that tone is. And this is the first one. So you want to see what message she's sending out there. What I've seen so far is that she's spent a lot of money, or she's announced a lot of programs that aren't free. And we're expecting a economic downturn. All the mayoral candidates said there was going to be one. And Duggan left a lot of money in the rainy day fund, anticipating some hard times coming. Well, and I'm wondering if she's going to address that.
Exactly. Yeah. Is she going to talk about a budget shortfall or these dirt holes that people are reporting on now? And Charlie's done a lot of work on it.
Yeah, as the Free Press has too.
Is she going to be honest about this stuff?
Well, that's the one thing I don't think she's going to talk about. She's not going to talk about any of the ethical questions that are still out there, like the free tickets that she took from a bank that appear to be in violation of the city's ethics policy, and whether she took free things, including a trip to the Miami Four Seasons with a contractor who now is in the crosshairs of the Inspector General and the Detroit Police Department and possibly Michigan's environmental regulators. Charlie's written about this. Violet Economova at the Free Press has written about this. I've written about this. It's kind of the storm cloud hanging over City Hall that nobody really wants to talk about, but we're not going to let that go. I don't expect her to address that, but if she does, that will be noteworthy, and I'll write about that. So I'm going to go see that, and it's always interesting to see who's there. Duggan had a lot of, I'm going to say, older heads there, people who were established, who had, flown lots of missions in various places. It seems like a lot of those people are leaving City Hall, and that the people who are coming in are newer. And it'll be interesting to see when Sheffield introduces her team. I think they're going to be a lot younger than Duggan's. Now, there's nothing wrong with that, but it is a significant change, and it shows that this is a new day in City Hall, and that there's been a generational change. So those are the kind of things I look for. In their 30s, there may be some in their 40s, but Duggan's in his 60s, and a lot of his people this was often their second or their third career. He had a track record of hiring former statewide officials, like the state treasurer, who, when the governor left, he was out of a job and he took a job with the city. People who had retired from their corporate jobs and were taking a second job, so they were accomplished. They knew what they were doing. They were getting a new paycheck along with their pension check. And I don't think you're going to see as much of that with Sheffield, partly because she doesn't know as many of those folks, and partly because she's young. And I think she feels, I want some new people with energy and ideas. And so we're going to go in a new direction. As she said, we're going to build on what Duggan did. We're going to do what he did, only different. And I don't think she wants the same people to do what he did, only different. So that's what I'm going to be looking for.
Well, she took a page out of his book. Didn't she hire 2 communications people that worked in the media around here, that worked at Channel 4?
Yeah, Duggan hired a lot of people from media, but every mayor does. So
really, from the media, from the TV stations?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think so. You see those people go out there as spokespeople. I mean, Kilpatrick hired Dave Manny from Channel 7, and who I think ended up having to, for all his troubles, appear before a grand jury, so that's the way it goes, and had to deal with all of our questions. It's one thing when you're a news director. It's another thing when the reporters are asking you questions. So that's the kind of stuff that I look at anyways when I go to these events, because there's what they tell you is the story. And often what we find is something else is the story. And it's the kind of thing that you have to know what you're looking for. And it's almost like when you look at the poster, can you see the rocket ship, where you just see a bunch of blurred colors? And if Mazaway was here, he would remind me not to do it without your shirt on when you come out of the bathroom, as George Costanza once did to his tremendous shame.
How did Duggan's State of the Cities compare to Kwame's?
Well, I'll tell you one thing that was similar is at least the first couple. Every one of Kwame Kilpatrick's State of the Cities made reference to a story I did, usually to explain it away or to address it or whatever. Like when I first reported he was way behind on demolitions, his State of the City said, you may have read that we're way behind on demolitions, but we're going to fix that.
Is that the right way to answer those things, is to do it? Well, I guess you can't respond as opposed to being interviewed about it.
No, I mean, I think back when Kilpatrick, I think, was a little more rational. It makes sense to address issues and say, you may have heard this, don't worry about it. We got this.
Yeah, but you're also in a position where you're not going to be challenged, so I guess that's
right. But all those stories, he had addressed those stories before when they were well, most of them when they were reported. But I think that was his way to say that, hey, I know you're paying attention what the free press is doing. Let me tell you, we are too, and we got an answer that you may not have heard, or we want you, it's their way to tell what happened with their spin on it. To kind of say, you may have heard this, but here's the real deal.
Oh.
And you're in a room full of sycophants, so all they do is clap. And in Kilpatrick's case, that would get him in trouble. God, where's the bell? Because once he heard the applause, he would feed off of that, and he'd start to think like, oh, yeah, people are digging me. Oh, I won these guys. I turned this crowd. It's like, you didn't turn this crowd. This is your crowd. If there's 200 people cheering for you, they may be the last 200 people in the city cheering for you.
And then he gets full of bravado and drops the N-word.
Exactly. Those are your ride and dies. So, of course, they're there because they're going to clap. So don't think this is some sort of straw poll. And that's exactly what happened, Mark, in that last state of the city, is he had a scripted speech, and he departed from it because he started to feel the energy in the room, and he started to say, you know what? I can beat this. I am big enough to overcome this. And so he started. He went off script, and the person who wrote that script, by the way, was shocked and appalled.
Who wrote it?
Bob Berg, the late Bob Berg.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was as if I ever sell my book, you'll read in there where he says, "That ain't what we agreed to."
Wow, because the quote is, I just pulled it up here. In the past 30 days, I've been called an N-word more than. Well, he didn't say the N-word. He actually used it. I've been called an N-word more than any time in my entire life. In the past 3 days, I've received more death threats than I have in my entire life. Did anybody believe that? I mean, that's so ridiculous. Both of those statements are ridiculous.
So,
do you think did he ever really get death threats?
Before I answer that question, let me tell you that we're brought to you by Luke Nowacki and Pinnacle Wealth Strategies, by Detroit City Football Club, who are playing Wednesday, that's tomorrow, in Grand Blanc in the U.S. Open Cup against the Flint City Bucks. If you go to tickets.uslleaguetwo.com and put in the promo code SOULCUP, there's a limited number of free ticket packages out there. So if you get those, you'll see me there, and we'll tell you a little bit more about what's going on with DCFC and Luke Nowacki a little later in the show. But the reason why I digress here, Mark, is because there's a long answer.
Okay.
Surprise. But
I mean, I know why. I understand why he does it, because he wants to be. It's kind of the victim position instead of all these bad things he probably did. It's like, well, look how persecuted I am. People are calling me this bad name. People are want to kill me. But it's got to start with a bit of truth and a bit of belief. And
Kilpatrick was someone who came and Shawn's not here, so he's not going to bust our agates on this. But we probably should talk about Kilpatrick because he's in the news again. He just never goes away. But so when Kilpatrick came into office, he said it's time for us to put the racial politics of the past behind us. And partly because there was a bunch of white CEOs who helped him get there, and Ed McNamara, who's as white as the underbelly of a clam, but clams have bellies anyway.
Close enough.
But
I knew what you meant.
And of course,
pretty white,
Mike Duggan. But once he got in trouble, then all of a sudden it became racial. So after the speech, I called Bob Berg, and I was really pissed off because he basically was accusing the free press of being racists, and it was almost an incitement to violence. And I said, Bob, this is all bullshit. What is this? And he's basically putting a target on me and my family and other people who've been doing these stories. That's not responsible. That's not right. And he's like, well, I said, and what about these threats? I said, you know what? You guys talk about these threats. Tell me where they are. Tell me who made them. I will write that story.
That is a story that should be known. If if a mayor of a major city is getting death threats, pretty big story.
Exactly. And I said, this is news. None of our reporting supports or condones that kind of response. I will put that on the front page. I will do everything I can to make sure that people know that the mayor's being targeted because of his race, and people can decide for themselves whether that's right or wrong. I said, this is an important story. And even though you guys are mad at us for the corruption we're exposing, we'll tell this other story, and I think it might help your client. So why don't you give us that information? And we went back and forth, and it was a it
doesn't exist.
Very heated conversation. To the point where I think I pulled off like Harper and Whittier to continue this conversation because I was getting so animated. And by the time we got to the key moment, Bob said, "Well, he's referring to comments on social media and at the end of stories." I'm like,
"Oh, come
really?
on.
A bunch of no-name keyboard warriors post some garbage,
which I don't.
And those are threats to your family. I mean,
threats."
And I said, okay, so let's assume there. Which ones are being investigated?
Yeah,
none of them. You know,
not.
So it was all just made up junk.
This was a year after he buried it too. He buried the N-word.
Oh yeah. Well, as Sam Riddle once said, if the N-word got buried in Detroit, it was kicking and screaming. So yeah, no. And if you look at the text messages, you know, the N-word was one that came readily and easily to the mayor's fingertips, if not his lips. But
so you alluded to how Kilpatrick is in trouble again.
Oh my goodness.
And he could possibly lose his big old house, his $1 million house in Novi or Northville, around that area.
Nova, not too far from where the Republican state convention was being held, and of course Kilpatrick is now a big Trumper, so I didn't see him there, but you know, well, Mark, I think the first thing you'd say is, it's not my house.
Yeah, but
it's owned by the LLC that my wife created.
But it's been proved that he's part of that LLC, right? When they captured,
I don't think so.
Oh, I thought when they captured the $13,000 from the Comerica account, it was technically part of the LLC.
Oh, maybe it was.
But his name was on some of the documents.
Well, I think his name is on a lot of documents where, I mean, they did grab some money that was in an account connected to his state pension, which he contested but lost. But yeah, this house apparently, once they got it, it doesn't appear they paid the taxes on it because, as the Detroit News reported, there are $50,000 in outstanding property tax owed, which means the house can be seized if they don't pay those taxes within the next year. And you're probably thinking, God, that's a lot of property tax. Well, it's because the house is valued at like $900,000.
No, but that leads me to believe he was paying the mortgage.
I don't know. I mean, so the way this works is you have to pay the property taxes. If you don't pay the property taxes after a certain amount of time, I think it's like 2 years.
I mean, as you say, just real quick, doesn't a house typically go in foreclosure because the bank puts it there, not because there's liens?
Yeah, there's a couple ways. One is you don't pay your property taxes, then the county can take it.
They go after okay.
And then you can be, and I think that's forfeiture. You forfeit it for unpaid taxes, and then there's foreclosure.
Okay,
that's where the lender says, "Hey, brother, you haven't been paying us. We're taking it back." And I think forfeiture comes before foreclosure, but whatever it is, you know, so the other thing is there's no obligation to foreclose. You know, if you lent somebody money and you don't care if they pay it back, then you don't have to foreclose. Forfeiture, you have no choice. The county has to get its property taxes. If it doesn't get them, it has to send you notice that you're in forfeiture. And then if you don't pay within a year, then you forfeit it, and then it goes up for auction.
This has been described, though, as a foreclosure, so you got to believe the lender.
Yeah.
I'm guessing. I don't know. It's really kind of confusing how it was reported.
Reporters confuse forfeiture and foreclosure all the time. And so without having the story in front of me, I can't say whether the reporter got it wrong, but my understanding is one of the problems that Kilpatrick has, and Robert Snell's a good reporter, so I'm not saying he got it wrong, but he's in the top 100. But the thing is, if you're not paying your taxes, that's going to get you at some point. So they may have found out about the unpaid taxes when they looked at the property records, and so I'm getting a little ahead of us on feedback. But
I'm also just amazed.
But since we're there,
yeah, and I'm amazed.
A guy named Robert Rubin, who may or may not be a former U.S. Treasury Secretary, wonders whether mortgage documents are public records. Most of them are. And how in the hell did his unemployment stay-at-home mom get approved for $1 million mortgage in the first damn place in the name of an LLC, no less?
Well, the mortgage is
absolutely.
The mortgage is $645,000. The house was bought at $807,000.
Which means that somebody had a hefty down payment because you don't get a mortgage for the full amount typically. Unless it's, and I think the reason why mortgages are public documents is because the lenders record them with the county register of deeds. I don't think they're required to do that, but they usually do that so that when somebody tries to get more money for the house, when they check the land records, it's like, oh shit, this dude's already underwater. I'm not going to lend him any more money. So it's more of a protecting yourself. But these records are public because I have seen them. And I'm sorry for Bob. I don't remember who the loan originator is. He speculates Dan Gilbert, but I don't think that was right. But falsifying documents to get a loan, you sign those under penalty of perjury.
Yeah,
that could be a problem. And it is. He says such a crime is called a headshot among prosecutors. I think what he means is because it's a paper crime, and with paper, it's really easy to prove who did what because you've signed your name. It's really tough to. You can take the Fifth Amendment, but if that's your signature, that's your signature.
It's amazing to me this Pathfinder consulting firm who bought the house that Kilpatrick's wife was really the name on that LLC. I'm shocked that they could get a mortgage for about $650,000. That makes no sense. So it's got to be somebody favorable.
And who's Pathfinder's clients? I mean, as far as I know, this woman's track record is. Kilpatrick met her when he was teaching in middle school. Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
Then he.
They never did anything. It's just it's a little creepy.
Nobody's suggesting that, but they were acquainted, and then he hired her as basically a receptionist in the mayor's office, which makes sense. You know, a kid who graduates, you're looking for a job. They seem like a good kid. You give them a job.
I get it.
And then so they met they didn't meet. They met while she was a student and he was a student teacher, and then he made her a city employee. And then I don't know what happened after that. And then they get married, and now she has a consultancy where apparently there's enough cash flow to justify. No. And I've gone to the headquarters of this consultancy.
Oh, let me guess. Is it a P.O. box?
It's a P.O. box at a post office on Van Dyke in Warren. Now, that's not unusual, but that's the only trace of this business I could find when I went looking. So... yeah, who lent him the money? Where did the down payment come from?
Know that.
And who lends? How? And this may be proper. I just don't know. But what bank or lender buys a house for an LLC? And it's not like the house is part of the business where it's an Airbnb or something, right? That would make sense. Or the rental houses I have are LLCs. Okay, so that would make sense. They live here. This is their domicile. It's just, it all sounds weird, and it sounds like the kind of thing.
And with this history,
that the IRS will be very interested in.
Yeah, it's very, well, speaking of the IRS, too, they filed a lien against him. I mean, this is old news, because when he gets out of prison about a year later, he owes $630,000 in unpaid income taxes. What is that from? Is that from when he was mayor?
I think it's because the money that he got illegally. This is
to report.
Right. This is where
that's a lot of illegal money you have to later report if you owe $630,000 in taxes on it.
Yeah, this is where the government has a sense of humor, right? Because they tell you, "Hey, we want to talk to you. We got a couple problems." Okay, what's the issue? It's like, it looks like you got a bunch of money illegally. It's like, no, I got it legally. It's like, okay, well then it looks like you didn't pay taxes on it. You're like, oh, well, I didn't pay tax on it because I got it illegally. I mean, you're kind of screwed either way, I mean, it's why drug dealers never call the cops when they get ripped off. What are you going to do? It's like, yeah, somebody stole all my drugs. What are you doing with drugs? Oh, you know what? Forget that I said that thing about somebody stealing all my drugs.
Kilpatrick's money crimes are so bad and sloppy. I don't know.
Yeah, it is. Well, I mean, look, this is why you shouldn't do the wrong thing, because when you do the wrong thing, all kinds of shit happens that you never think about, and you end up putting yourself in all kinds of trick bags that you didn't even know existed.
People were calling him the N-word, and he's getting death threats. So
yeah, well, I
so he's the victim here.
I think people probably were using that word in comments in social media and places like that, which is still not right. No. But it's different than somebody walking up to you and saying, hey, blankety blank.
Yeah.
So, again, it's a word that shouldn't be used anywhere in any context by white or black or anybody. When it was buried, it should have been buried. I wish it had stayed buried, but it didn't. But yeah, I mean, it's all pretty ridiculous. So Bob, I appreciate the questions. Here's Bob's last question.
Oh yeah.
Does Mike keep a bottle of champagne in the fridge at home when he plans to pop if and when Kilpatrick inevitably gets rearrested?
No.
First of all, I don't wish anybody ill.
I was just gonna say, yeah.
Second of all, I'm kind of tired of Kilpatrick, although you can get copies of the Kwame Sutra at the Post on Kercheval in Detroit and at Next Chapter Books on Warren in East English Village in Detroit, and soon at Leon and Lulu in Clawson.
Right.
So I guess the man may be helping me move the product, but hey, he gets arrested and just get pardoned. What's the big deal?
Oh man, the geeks have inherited the earth.
Did I do that?
What a dork.
Does him wanting to play with us again mean that he's turning into a geek, or we're turning into cool guys?
Since Marc has kind of let me down on the production end.
What? What did I do wrong?
Newsflash from Hamtramck. DCFC, it's our sports update. This is our...
Well, I could have played something. I didn't know you were doing that.
I know. You never let me down on production. I just kind of threw you out there because...
That's all right. I'm used to it.
I usually count on Shawn throwing somebody out there without any basis whatsoever. Most recently in a text thread, by the way. But anyway, DCFC beat previously undefeated Charleston 1-0 at Keyworth last Saturday. If you weren't there, great game. They'll be back in Keyworth on Saturday, March 11th at 4 p.m. taking on the Sporting Jacks. In the meantime, they're going to play the Flint City Bucks in the U.S. Open Cup on Wednesday. That's tomorrow at 7:30 at Don Batchelor Stadium. We already told you how you can get free tickets. We'll have more information on that on our website and on my Facebook page, ML Elric, if you look for that.
Is this good sports music for you?
Oh, yeah.
Well, that's kind of the Penn State thing. I'll keep looking.
That's not bad. Just no Mr. Brightside, please. But
well, now I want to play it. Go ahead, carry on.
You're like a kid in the checkout lane. It's like, don't touch the candy. It's like, what? You got chocolate all over your face.
I didn't even think about it until you mentioned it.
And the Flint City Bucks and DCFC have played a couple times before over the years. The Flint City Bucks way back when were the Michigan Bucks. Anyways, this is a big deal, folks. This is like the FA Cup of America. You win in advance, and you can eventually play an MLS team if you get deep enough, as DCFC has done, beating the Columbus Crew a few years ago. Bucks versus Le Rouge. One will advance. 2 teams enter. 1 team leaves. I will be there. I hope to see you. If you're there, maybe you can buy me one of those cheap USL League beers, which the beers are cheap at the USL League, which is why it's always a great time to go see Le Rouge when they're back at Keyworth. If you want to watch them, in the meantime, next Saturday, they'll be playing Rhode Island FC. I'm sure you can find that on TV. But get all the information, including ticket information, on DCFC at DebtCityFC.com.
Is this better sports music? Sports update music?
What did they do for Jim McKay? I think I deserve
the wide
Jim
world.
McKay.
You want the wide world of sports?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you wanted the cavalcade of sports. Is that this one? Oh, this is terrible.
Is it the cavalcade of porn?
Maybe
what about the George Michael sports machine? Can I get one of those little levers?
That's what Drew used to use on Riff.
Oh, does it? Okay.
That's a great sports bed.
News out of South Bend. Michigan State Spartans defeat the Notre Dame Fighting Irish to become national champions in 1965.
I guess they would have said right again.
The year of our Lord, 1965, because they're playing the Irish. I think we could probably come up with something a little fresher.
It's actually a Gillette ad.
Yeah, and I did shave this month, so.
All right, what are we doing? What else is going on?
I kind of want to start marching along here. But I want to get to Luke's read. Kathy Ireland has never spoken to Luke. Actually, now that I think about it, every celebrity that's gone broke has never spoken to Luke. No? Okay. Well, listen, don't take the chance that Kathy Ireland and a lot of broke-ass celebrities have taken. Call or text Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth Strategies. The number is 248-663-4748. That's 248-663-4748. Don't have a plan? Luke will help you get one. And who knows, maybe you can find a way to get your own Champions Club tickets so you're not trying to weasel them from Drew, like some people we know. And if you call Luke and Zach and the team at Pinnacle Wealth, and including Nick, how can I forget Nick? At Pinnacle Wealth Strategies, they will make it all about you.
I feel like Kilpatrick should have called him a long time ago. Get his money straightened out.
Securities and
they'd
investment
roll over
advisory services
on Kilpatrick. It's a law
Think member FINRA-SIPC.
Mosaic Wealth.
Distinct, separately owned, and other entities and/or marketing names, products, or services referenced here are independent.
Mosaic Wealth.
Inc.
Okay, I think it's probably time for Geek of the Week, and I'm going to get myself in trouble here because once again, people are going to misinterpret what I'm saying. My Geek of the Week is Ron DeSantis because he wants to rename the Palm Beach International Airport the Donald J. Trump International Airport. It's not because he wants to name it after the president. Stay with me for a second here and just listen carefully. Ron DeSantis is the guy who was throwing buku shade on Donald Trump because he wanted to step over his dead body, or at least what he thought was his dead body, to become the Republican nominee for president in 2024. Ron DeSantis said Donald Trump's time is up. He can't win. He spent millions of dollars doing that. He crisscrossed the country. He put on those little boots that made him bigger. Meatball Ron said the time of Trump is over. And guess what?
But he's a politician. You get it.
He was wrong. And so now he sees there's going to be an opening. I think he's wrong again. It ain't going to be Ron DeSantis time in 2028, but he's trying to ingratiate himself to the president by renaming an airport after him.
Nothing works better than renaming something or building a statue or giving an award.
Or giving an award,
Yep.
yeah. And it's so obvious, this bootlicking, that it just, and DeSantis is a fairly accomplished guy. I mean, he's got no reason to act like some meager supplicant, but with this move, that's what he's doing. So Ron DeSantis.
I have one too.
Oh, damn! There was a big.
I'll do one from the other side of the aisle, and you can.
I'm not from any side of the aisle.
No. That's from.
In fact, I think the MAGA people are madder at DeSantis than anybody else.
Well, no, mine was. It was reported this week that a gun was discharged by the Secret Service at a Philadelphia airport, right?
To protect somebody.
So that was like, yikes! Why is a gun discharged at an airport? It's pretty wild. And then it turns out, this is a Secret Service agent for Jill Biden.
Dr. Jill Biden, please. Dr. Jill Biden, please.
For Jill Biden, right? So it was one of the Secret
Dr.
Service.
Biden.
Hey, every story I saw did not refer to her as Dr. Jill
No,
Biden.
I don't think. I think it's only the Bidens who do that.
I know. So, whatever. Anyway, but it turned out the reason this guy shot him, or his gun discharged, was he had to run back to the detail that was along with the former first lady to go back to the SUV that he was riding in because he left his cell phone behind. And so he's searching the SUV for his cell phone, and he was using the flashlight on his service weapon to search for his cell phone. Thankfully, he found his cell phone. The problem was when he was reholstering the gun, or his flashlight for finding his phone, the gun discharged and shot himself in the butt cheeks. So
they don't have a safety.
He's okay, so it's okay to laugh. Well, I'm sure they do, but
wow. And you have to take the safety off to turn the flashlight on? I would figure that's trigger activated.
I don't know, but what just a series of idiotic maneuvers. You leave your cell phone behind. You're looking for it with the flashlight on your weapon, which, I'm not a weapons expert, but I don't think you're supposed to use your flashlight that way on the gun.
Yeah.
And then reholstering it, shot himself in the butt. But he's in a hurry, so
Wow. Well,
going to the airport can be quite stressful.
For those of you wondering, do ex-presidents and ex-first ladies get the top-notch Secret Service agents? I think Mark has just answered your question.
So now you can throw the tagline in.
And so now we have 2 Geeks of the Week.
Me again!
There's an all-night party in room 7609. got the time.
So we're glad that officer's okay. They must have been really hurt though, because that's one of those things where when I found my phone, I'd call back and say, I gotta go home. I'll be in tomorrow. Something happened.
I think when the gun gets discharged, I think it brings a lot of eyeballs and attention to what's going on.
Well, what a shame. Listener Mike Johnston with a T says, in 1999, Wesley Willis performed at the Blind Pig. Over 300 people attended the rock show. The rock show was awesome. Afterwards, Mr. Willis was selling unsorted merch out of a backpack. I asked for the one with Rock and Roll McDonald's, and he instantly produced that out of the pile. I handed him a 20, and without missing a beat, he asked, what other CD would you like? It became apparent that Wesley was not in the making change business. Wesley was in the selling CD business. You know, I worked with some vendors where people, you know, you'd sell somebody a beer and you give them change, like, oh, you guys give change? I'm like, well, I do. Like, not all you guys do. Now it's all.
Oh, now
it's all QR codes and shit.
There was a convenience store on Woodward by 11 Mile, and they were infamous for never giving. I'm talking 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Never giving change.
Really?
Like, we used to laugh and go there because you just don't. It could be, $3.05. And you wouldn't get your 95 cents. They just didn't deal in change, and nobody said anything about it. I think that it's since been closed. They had the old Pepsi sign out in front.
I would have been marching outside. I would have been stomping on somebody's head for a dime. You let 95 cents slip through your fingers?
No, you learn after the first time, like, okay, I gotta get this as close to rounding up to the dollars I can.
I got you. Now,
so ridiculous.
You weren't
Everybody knew it too.
You weren't buying beer underage, were you? Because when you give them whatever you give them, you ain't never getting any change back.
I mean, I was of age at the time, but it was just like, why are we not getting change? Like, then I had to ask my brother, and then Walter's like, yeah, we've gone there. We've never gotten change from there. It's like, okay, so this is a thing.
Damn, that's not cool. Mike continues, I didn't want to hold up the line by pawing through his umpteen releases, so I randomly pointed to one with hand-drawn cover art of Chicago buses. Good choice, he exclaimed.
I have that CD.
Really?
Yes.
Did you get it at the Blind Pig? Were you at that show?
No. Here, I'll show you what it looks like.
Were you matriculating at the time?
There's
oh,
the
there
CD
you go.
cover.
It's actually pretty good.
Does everybody know who Wesley is? I mean, Wesley.
If you listen to the Drew and Mike show,
yeah, but not everybody does.
Day, well, we're about to find out.
Wesley was a schizophrenic, homeless man who from Chicago that made a career out of. Basically he got a synthesizer and he would perform a song about whatever, like the Chicken Cow or Rock and Roll McDonald's.
Yeah. Rock on London, Rock on Chicago.
And he would always end with a slug line from an advertising campaign, like Memorex. Is it live or is it Memorex or whatever?
Phil Howard McDonald's, you get your Big Mac and everything.
Yeah.
It's always hot.
Blockbuster Video.
Yeah. And it wasn't.
Whatever, but we had him in studio once. He was, he's a big guy.
Okay.
He's huge. And
he was a big guy.
I
believe he's no longer with us.
No,
God rest his soul.
Dead for a long time. But he, so you have this big guy with mental illness, and he had a bruise on the top of his forehead.
Well, I think we're going to get to that in a minute.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
Oh, no. I don't know if it was from that incident, but.
Well, no, because whenever he greeted somebody.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, we are going to get to that.
Yeah.
Okay. So, by the way, if you're a soulmate, thanks for donating and watching the show. If you saw that cover, I think it's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, no, he's a good artist. I don't think he's a great musician.
Freehand pencil drawing, but not bad. So Mike gets this one with the art of Chicago bus. Good choice, Willis exclaimed before giving me a headbutt and sending me on his way. So that explains the bruise.
Yeah.
Getting low-key fleeced for not having a 10-spot proved fortuitous, however, as that second disc was way better than the first.
Hey.
Personal favorite is Make My Joy Plane Crash and Burn. Is that the JFK Jr. story? A peppy little number featuring distorted vocals and pitch shifter, which, Mike, I don't know that it was the pitch shifter. I think the vocals came that way.
I'm going to play a little bit of it, but I don't want to play this whole thing.
Okay,
so the pitch shifting is really bad, which is when he did a song about Drew and Mike, that's what he did too, which Drew proclaimed it to be the worst song anyone's ever made about anything.
So we will give you a little taste of Make My Joy Plane Crash and Burn, but Mark picked a favorite Wesley Willis.
Well, I just picked a shorter one that has video of him so people that are watching can sing along. But here's the one that he likes.
We never disappoint.
Make my joy plane crash and burn. Make my joy plane crash and burn. Make my joy plane crash and burn. Make my joy plane crash and burn.
I just thought he had the great Gazoo and the backing band, so that's actually him. That's a multi-track.
Let's hear the tagline. Oh, jeez.
Rock over London, rock over Chicago, Arby's, the French is good.
Of course, now we have the meats.
America's roast beef, yes, sir. Remember that with Bert Parks way back when?
Who the hell's Bert Parks?
Bert Parks used to be the guy who hosted the Miss America pageant. He was like an old-time, stand-up comedian, MC type guy, and his last gig was America's Roast Beef. Yes, sir.
Oh, okay. Well,
I think he got run out of that hosting job because he might have said something about the bathing suits. I'm not sure, but rest in peace, Bert Parks and Wesley Willis. And now, Mark, what are you going to play us?
All right, so it's just a short version, but you can see Wesley and all his greatness. I think this is his song, or part of his song, called Osama bin Laden.
Soulmates, here's your $5 worth right here.
You are a no-good jerk. You are a terrorist asshole. You are a stupid piece of shit. You are a stupid ass jerk. Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden. They please everybody.
Yeah.
My music is good. Rock over London, rock over Chicago, 7-Up. It's Stunt Cola.
It is the Uncola.
Oh, rest in peace, Wesley. He's a nice guy.
That's great stuff. So, Soulmates.
I think he really captured the essence of Osama bin Laden in that song too.
Right. I mean, you really can't challenge anything he said.
No.
And the lyrics are pretty easy to remember, so it's got that going for it too. I think it's just Osama bin Laden.
Yeah,
over and over again. So,
like
no, you are a jerk. You are an asshole.
You are a terrorist asshole.
Yeah. So thanks, Mike. Mike
Great
says
email,
in closing, Wesley Willis is a rock star in the mix. Wesley Willis is a rock star to the max. I am forever grateful to this lost musical genius, his indelible spirit, and his questionable business tactics. So,
amen.
Yes.
Selling, making him buy another CD.
Amen. Yeah, I wish I'd been at that show. I thought, where was I in '99? Oh, I was in Chicago. I probably could have gone to see him.
There you go. Yeah,
in
live.
Chicago.
Yeah.
Damn, rock over Ann Arbor, rock over London.
What a disaster.
Yeah, but anyway, we love it when you send us a song. We love it when you send us a story even more. So please send this to us at mlsoulofdetroit@gmail.com. We do not have any new soulmates this week. We do not have any one-time donors this week. Please, it keeps us coming. It gives Tommy something to get upset about when I mention it. But please, we appreciate your support and your feedback. We kind of got to the feedback earlier with the former Treasury Secretary asking some questions about the wisdom of the financial transaction, including the former mayor's present and perhaps temporary digs. And I mentioned at the top of the show that I did a story about lawmakers kind of giving them a little bit of a hard time. I'll give you the quick recap, and then we'll have a link on our website. I wrote a story about lawmakers who refused to go to House sessions during the lame duck session at the end of 2024. I know you're already falling asleep, so let me tell you why that matters. Almost all the important shit gets done at the end of the session. Every 2 years, these guys put all the hard decisions off, these men and women, and then they kind of ram them through. It's a terrible way to run a government, but it's the only way a lot of stuff really gets done. And what ended up happening is because some Republicans were upset that some of their legislation wasn't being treated the way they thought was proper, and I'm not going to tell you whether that's so or not. That's really something for individuals to decide. But they decide they're going to boycott these lame duck sessions, and because the legislature was just about evenly split, when a Democratic lawmaker didn't show up because she was mad too, they didn't have enough lawmakers there to do business, so they couldn't do business. So these important pieces of legislation, including a trust fund for public safety, including expanding the Freedom of Information Act so I could get more information on what these jokers are doing when they're not going to work. All died. It all died. Some legislation involving ghost guns. These are untraceable guns that have been involved in hundreds of murders that they were going to try and regulate somehow. It all just died. Okay, fair enough. You don't want to go. That's fine. But most of them, according to the records I was able to get and I was able to deduce because the records were limited because they didn't expand the Freedom of Information Act, shows that they put in for their mileage for going to work. And here's the tease. Turns out that ain't illegal, but it ain't right, and you can read all about it in the link that we'll have on our website, which is mlsoulofdetroit.com, or you can just subscribe to the Free Press. It's just $1 a month. You can read about my take on the Republican State Convention, and of course, pretty soon you'll read my take on the state of the city. And of course, you'll see what Shawn's up to. Mm-hmm. He can't be with us today because he went to the Elite Eight for the ladies.
Surprised they sent him to that.
He went to see the Michigan Wolverines get beat by Texas. I think
40
in
points.
Texas, right?
It's terrible. Yeah.
Yeah. The Longhorns treated the Wolverines like the Wolverines treated the Volunteers.
It's funny how everyone screams about inequality, like these teams are going to be so much better than the others, but no one ever mentions women's sports. I think it's the same Final Four as last year again.
Oh, for years it was
it's always
UConn or Tennessee.
Yeah, now it's UConn, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Now it's UCLA as well. It's like, okay, whatever. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not mad about it, but
so
it's not equal bitching across the sports. But my big question is, who are you rooting for this weekend?
Who am I rooting for?
Yeah. Saturday night. Who are you going to pull for in the Final Four, men's Final Four?
Is there a game?
Come on.
Probably the Red Wings. Well, I'll tell you who I'll be cheering for. I'll be cheering for DCFC versus Rhode Island.
No, I don't want you to. Don't act like a politician that's talking to you. Give me an answer.
Well, so Duke got knocked out by UConn, an amazing bucket.
Yeah.
So the evil empire, there's the other big blue I root against.
UConn's a pretty evil empire, too.
Oh,
they might be the best program in the nation the last 20 years.
Well, and UConn beat Michigan State in the Final Four, and I think later on it was found out that coach had broken all kinds of rules, and Michigan had to deal with that, too. Yeah, it was Kevin Ollie. Michigan had to deal with Patino breaking all those rules at Louisville when they eliminated John Beilein, which
2013 they had to forfeit that one, which whatever, they still won it.
Yeah, I mean, it's just
silly.
It's outrageous when people get away with stuff and still don't have to pay the price.
Who you rooting
so anybody but Michigan?
Oh yeah, those are equal penalties. Anyway, who are you rooting for? Anyone but Michigan?
Who's Michigan playing? I got to tell you,
Arizona.
I guess Zona. I don't know.
You're such a dick.
And who's the other bracket? It's Illinois,
UConn and Illinois.
Illinois for sure, fighting Illini because our friend Shawn spent so much time in Champaign where he stuck his.
But you have a
ass out of the
friend
bus.
sitting directly across from you that went to the University of Michigan and bleeds maize and blue.
You are a dear friend, but
your hatred is, you're so blinded by your hatred.
Mark, if you killed somebody, I would call 911. So you can be my friend, but you can't get away with murder.
Oh, jeez. Okay, then what about next week? Who are you rooting for?
Is it hockey?
Yeah, the Frozen Four.
Denver.
You're such a dick.
Denver and who else? Yeah, I have tickets to that. I had to cancel my flights. I had to cancel my hotel rooms, and now I'm trying to sell my tickets to the Frozen Four.
You can root for Wisconsin, I suppose.
Oh yeah. The Cheeseheads, sure, why not? They're benign.
Asshole.
But Michigan. I mean, the Big Ten had a chance to have 3 teams in the Final Four in basketball.
Yeah.
And 2 teams in the Final Four in hockey.
Yeah.
And we could have had.
They do. They do have 2 teams in the Final Four, Frozen Four.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking we could have had 3 Michigan teams in the Frozen Four with Western Michigan, and Michigan State, which would have been awesome. But we screwed it up. Western got pummeled, and when you let UConn score like 16 unanswered points, it's really tough to dig out of that hole.
I'm just glad to know you're rooting against my my joy, my happiness.
You want
me to be miserable.
I want you to be happy, but
no, you don't.
If some of the things that bring you joy is like snuff films, I can't endorse all of your.
That's a good equal.
It's pretty close. I could make an argument for I won't
What
go
a
there.
jerk.
So, but congratulations on the Broncos. Pretty good, making it to the Elite Eight. That hockey program is one to watch for sure. And I think they have a new stadium opening up soon too. So another problem for my Spartans. But Shawn will post his column. We'll post my most recent columns, and we will be posting our bonus episode, which is a outstanding recording of our live show at the Caju Cafe on St. Patrick's Day. You'll hear lots of great Detroit trivia, lots of great Irish trivia. You'll hear some great jokes.
From who?
Well, since Marc wasn't
Not
there,
you.
he can't challenge me. My co-hosts were very funny, so I was reflecting their glory. So please check that out. If you'd like to hear that, it's only $5 a month to become a soulmate. It supports the show, keeps us coming back. And Tommy, by the way, I offered Tommy free tickets to this DCFC Flint Bucks game on Wednesday. He's mad that I'm always shaking down money, but I said, I got free tickets for you, brother. He's like, is this for real? I'm like, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is for real. So go to tickets.uslleaguetwo.com before 7:30 on Wednesday. And when you check out, hit promo code SOULCUP, SOULCUP. See if there's still some free tickets left. Hope to see you there. And until, well, we got a surprise for you next week. Until April, Cyrus, take us out.
Can you dig that?
Can you dig it? Can you dig it?
Be sure to be with us again this same time next week for another dramatic chapter in the adventures of
The Soul of Detroit.
This is a Bruce Ells production.